Hello, everybody. I'm Toby Shifsky. I'm the Vice President of Real Estate Education at Kaplan. We are here with the Real Expert webinar, and today's guest is none other than Harry Stevens. Harry, hello.
Hello. Hi, Toby. Hello, everyone.
Very good to have you here, Harry. Everybody, our webinar title is The Power of Having a Real Estate Niche. It's niche or niche. We found out that you can call it either one, right, Harry? I mean, we had to look
exactly.
it up. Yeah, potato, you can call it whatever you want. And Harry's going to bring a very interesting perspective. So let me go ahead and introduce Harry. If you haven't already had Harry in one of your classes, Harry is an instructor for Kaplan out of the Bob Hogue School of Real Estate in Florida. And it's a school that we purchased about 3 years ago. But after a very long relationship of almost 40 years of being a partner of ours, using the Dearborn content that we also provide to schools all over the country. And so Harry comes to us. He's a bilingual Spanish broker associate and instructor assisting buyers, sellers, and students for over 20 years. Working closely with Spanish-speaking communities to provide guidance and support and establish a legacy for future generations. Harry, thank you for being here today, and thank you for helping our people, our students, our customers, and everybody else who shows up in the webinar kind of understand a unique perspective about niches. Thank you for being here.
No, thank you, Toby. And thank you, everyone, for joining us today.
Yeah, right on. All right, so let's go ahead. I'm just going to explain some ground rules. Some of you are brand new on the Real Expert webinar. First off, we got 30 minutes. We go very fast. Harry and I talked a little bit earlier to make sure we're organized. We get through this, but Harry and I could talk all day long about niches for guaranteed. So we boil it down. You're going to get 3 or 4 golden nuggets out of this today, and we're super excited about it. Secondly, if you have to leave for any reason, we're recording this, and if you've registered and you're here, we will email you a link to the video later. You can come back, watch the video later. You can even pass that link on to other people if you'd like to, and share it if you think there's important stuff, and I'm pretty sure we're going to talk about some important stuff today that you can share. And we're going to finish, like I said, 30 minutes. It's going to go fast, and it's going to go furious. We're going to be able to send a recording out, and let's go. Harry, let's just jump right in. Oh, awesome. By the way, one last thing for everybody. You can play along. We're looking for chat questions from everybody. So if you got questions coming in, roll in your chat questions. We're even looking for people to participate. Harry, you should know, we get people of all different experience levels here. Yeah. In fact, I got a poll question for everybody, and that people get to play along. We're going to ask a poll question right now. So if you're on your phone, you may have to swipe your screen to see the poll question come up. But if you're on your desktop, you're going to see this straight and forward. And really, the first poll question I'm going to ask is pretty straightforward. How long have you been licensed in real estate? Go ahead and answer this question as fast as you can. We want to understand who we're talking to. We'll kind of tailor the conversation to that. Is it more than 10 years? Like, man, you are a rock star, superstar. Thank you for being here. In fact, you people 10 years or more, we're definitely going to ask you to participate in the chat, if you would, to help people out. 4 to 10 years, look at you, kind of got your feet under you. You are accelerating in your business, and you're here to learn more too. I love that. Please play along. Less than 4 years? How about all those people came in probably since the pandemic, right? You've got a whole interesting perspective on this industry, and we can't wait to hear from you too. And then heck, how about a big pile of people who aren't even licensed yet? You're actually sitting in your licensing courses and you're coming to Real Expert. You should know, it's worth it. Finish your education, do your education, be engaged in this kind of conversation. There's webinars here. A lot of people do webinars. Make yourself a student of the industry, and you will be successful in real estate. Thank you for being here to all of our students. Love that. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and end the poll. Once again, the polls are always anonymous. We don't put your name on the poll. Nobody's going to see your poll. Now, your name is in the chat, so people will see your name on the chat, so careful what you talk about. But I'm going to end the poll, and I'm going to share the results. All right, Harry, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, here we go. We're going to share the results. How about this? We got people in here more than 10 years, 5% of the people. 4%, 4 to 10 years. Look at those 4 to 10 years must know everything about the industry because they're not here right now. Less than 4, 15%. And then, like we thought, we have a large pile of people, a lot of fresh, bright-eyed people. 77%, they're not even licensed yet. Good for you for being here. You're going to get a lot out of this. All right, let's go ahead. I'm going to stop sharing and let's jump into the conversation. First off, Harry, why do you believe finding a niche is important to success in real estate? Why do you think it's important?
Wow, yeah, that's a great question, and it's something that again, as we begin, especially if you're brand new, so I really appreciate the ones that are just starting out, just getting into this business, is finding out what's different, right? What's unique? What makes me unique with all those other, like I live here in the Tampa Bay area, 5,000, 6,000 different agents, right? How can I separate myself, right? How can I make myself unique? As trainers, you guys may have heard this term, unique selling proposition, right? When I go to a buyer, when I go to a seller, how can I be a little bit different? So that's what we're kind of focusing on. We're looking for that niche, right? That advantage, that angle, right? Is it our skill set? Is it our brand? Is it who we are? You know, that emotional intelligence. Maybe we have a skill set for empathy with people. Huge, right? Huge, huge, huge. When it comes to that, when it comes to being genuine, you know, all of these different things, finding it, you know, whatever that is for you, you know, whether it be in my experience, again, we're going to get into this more with the Spanish speaking community, but it could be anything, right? It could be property, it could be language, it could be commercial, it could be industrial, you know, however you get into it. Again, the whole point is just to start, right? Little by little, and then start, you know, step by step each day and get better and better at your niche.
Well, and I would just add on to that. I think about the change in the industry. So I was licensed in 1991, long time. And there's been a big change in that market. Back then, you were either residential or commercial, and on the residential side, you could basically do anything. And in fact, you were expected to do everything. You worked with first-time home buyers, you worked in new construction, you worked in land, you worked in condos and townhomes. You were very much a generalist. Hey, you have a need, I go anywhere.
Yeah.
Right. And so, but I think what we're all seeing now is that those who specialize, those who really understand the people that they're working with, especially on the residential side, they are very, very capable of finding and creating relationships with people that they maybe share a like-kind bond that gets them to actually like you quicker and maybe even trust you faster than if you didn't have that connection, right? I mean, isn't that what we're seeing today is how do you get to that connection?
Great insight, Toby.
All right. So let's do this because I know we got a lot of people on. We probably better describe what a niche is. I know we've thrown a couple of different things out there. As a matter of fact, how would you quickly describe a niche, Harry, in your words? How do you think about it?
In my words, would just be kind of separating, kind of making something unique, right? That like you said, the specialized knowledge, that experience, that service, that angle, that again, something unique, something different that separates me from the competition, separates me from other agents, and finding that uniqueness of whatever it is in the marketplace is what I believe would really help you along the way of creating that opportunity, creating that special space that you as the expert would have.
Got it. And you know what? I just for myself personally, I think about myself and for me specializing. How do I know an area? I mean, you could specialize. Your niche could be your community. It could be a 3-block area, right?
Exactly.
It could be a giant housing development, but you could own that development, meaning you know everything about it. You know all the covenants. You know all those private deed restrictions. You know the mayor's name. You know the tax assessor's name. You know everything. You know there's the niche is really about having a specialty and allows you to have a special connection with potential buyers and sellers. That's it. As a matter of fact, I would like to do this. I'd like to ask a poll question of everybody again. Everybody, you get to play again, right? Oh, hang on a second. You want me to stop sharing the slide? How about that? I can do that. Let's see what happens here. I got a question. How's that? Is that better? That must be better. All right, perfect. Okay. I was asked to stop sharing the slide. Perfect. All right. So, Harry, and everybody, let's do a poll question. For everybody, get ready to play along. I'm going to ask you a simple question. Once again, what niches do you concentrate on? Or for those of you who aren't even in the business yet, which ones would you concentrate on? And you can answer more than one of these. And here's the thing. This is really just about getting you kick-started into thinking about niches. I'm actually kind of interested in those of you who've been in the business for 4 years or more. right? So those are even 10 plus. What niches are you in? And I'd love it if you could kind of share, if you could, those people already in the business, maybe your niche in the chat. If you don't see it on the list, I would love it if you could share it in the chat, what your niche might be. I have a niche. I'm going to type it right in there. All right, I got mine. I have a bicycle community niche. How about that? So I do a lot of bicycling. It's like the only way I seem to be able to stay fit. I end up having to do it early in the morning before the sun's even up because my whole family's sleeping then. But I've got a pretty big group of people that I spend an awful lot of time with that I know everything about biking about. And they like me and they trust me. And if they know I'm in real estate, they're quick to ask me questions about real estate. And you know what? Nothing better than somebody asking you a question about real estate when because how hard is it sometimes to get people to talk about real estate if they know you're an agent, and when they ask you questions, there's your niche, right? If you're with a group and you've got people that are interested in what you're doing and you're interested in them, watch what happens when they know you're in real estate, right? All right, so here we go. I'm going to share these results real quick. 3, 2, 1, 0. All right, take a look at those results all the way down. 78% want to work first-time home buyers. Well done. Military veterans, 20%. Seniors, 30%. Luxury homes. Luxury homes are fun. I can tell you that. Hard, but fun. Shorefront, 9%. Green and sustainable. Leisure activity group. Bank foreclosure. Flippers, 26%. Look at all that. Everybody's in there. Guys, there's any number of niches. I mean, and one of the ones that Harry is going to help us with a little bit to talk about and even to understand a little bit better, maybe even some around language and maybe ethnicity and those kind of things. All right. I'm also seeing, Harry, in some of the comments, second year into real estate, I've worked with anywhere from flippers, new home buyers, second home buyers, and builders, working on my 8th transaction. Look at that. Maggie's rocking it and killing it.
That's awesome.
Look at all those different niches that are coming up in the chats: commercial, small business, multifamily syndication, and fitness. How about that? Fitness as a niche.
Wow.
Investors in medical profession. Awesome. Awesome. All right, I'm going to stop sharing the results. And let's go on to the next piece. So what do we do with that information, Harry? What's the next piece that we need to look at for this?
Yeah, so the next piece then would be, we'll decide, right? Decide which one. You got to start with one, right? You should start with one, kind of, setting yourself apart from everyone else.
Yeah.
It would be just to decide, right? Decide which one am I going to get into. And my angle, like Toby says, Spanish-speaking buyers, sellers, students, even mentoring real estate agents, because of the time frame, because of the time that I've been in the business, if it's something that ever interested. And I saw a lot of you like Sufina, and I believe it was, I'm trying to see, Russell, right? Saying niche would be immigrants, people that maybe are from a different country, right? Coming to the US for the first time, kind of figuring this all out. Maybe that's the first time home buyer. Maybe that's the angle that you would be comfortable with, that you would be seeing and walking them through that transaction, right? Step by step. So that's my angle, right? My angle, I saw it in the beginning, right? Way back 20 years ago. And just seeing that in the Tampa Bay area here, that there wasn't a lot of service, right? It was hard. Like I think Sufina mentioned, right? Very limited in providing that ability of an agent that also speaks Spanish. I didn't speak Spanish in the beginning. I'm originally from I was born in California, in Los Angeles. And it's not something that it came easy for me. I do have family history that is Puerto Rican. But the problem was that I just never understood it, right? I never got that, man, I can make this a part of my real estate. I can make it a part of my community. I can address and cater to other individuals that speak Spanish and make it an amazing experience for them, especially for the first-time home buyer, right? So 20 years ago, just seeing that need, right? Seeing that angle when it came to the title, when it came to the real estate transaction, when it came to the loan, right? Home inspector, all these different things just was really hard when I had to get their family to translate or their friends to translate or I don't understand it. What's going on? This contract, this looks overwhelming, 12 pages, what is this? So all these things just had me begin, right? Starting that perspective. Okay, I'm going to do this niche. I'm going to decide, right? I'm going to do it in Spanish because I feel comfortable with the Spanish. I know there's an opportunity there. So that's how I started, right? I started going from my full-time job. I was a corporate trainer. And then all of a sudden, slowly getting out of my comfort zone. I taught in English, right? So I already had the angle with the classes. But
Yep,
then
yep.
I wanted to see, okay, well, what about if I taught in Spanish? What would that do? Again, very difficult for me. I didn't speak Spanish, but again, I was familiar with the culture. I was familiar with the system, and I said, well, let me get out of my comfort zone and let me start doing the classes in Spanish. So I did that, going from part-time real estate to full-time agent. We start doing a number of deals. And all of a sudden, what do my brokers say? Harry, you need another revenue source. You need another income source. Get out there. Go get some more business. Real estate was kind of sideways, with the recession and so on. So what did I do? I went and got my loan originator license, right? And I said, okay, well, let me learn it in Spanish for loans and see if I work an angle there. But again, the
Right.
broker's like, do a little bit more. Don't leave it at that. Come on, go further. So then
Don't
I got
step
my
down.
notary and started doing the closings, right? And understood it from now the title perspective as well. So again, painful, yes. Was it worth it? Of course. And now I'm also understanding, right? Understanding trial and error, full immersion, right? Getting into learning the language, learning the different processes, and then walking them through step by step. In addition to that, obviously, books, going to the library, always a great idea. There's a great book. If you guys haven't heard of it, highly recommend it. It's called Kiss, Bow, or Shake Hands. Really good book that specifically tells you different countries, different ethnicities. How do you do business in those different countries with different languages? How do we not offend them? Because that's a mistake I made early on, right? Something in one Spanish language could be offensive in a different Spanish language. And I was just like,
Oh yeah.
what do you mean?
I think that's a phenomenal story. I just want to back it up and grab a couple pieces of this for everybody. So Harry, you have Puerto Rican heritage, I
Yes,
understand, right? But English was your language. You were
that was
born
my first language.
in
Yeah, yeah.
America,
Born
right?
here and
Born here, and you didn't even speak Spanish,
yeah.
but you used that heritage and you saw a need
Yeah.
and you learned the language. And then you learned the multiple pieces of the business in order to serve that niche. You organize your niche around the need for Spanish speaking agents
Yeah.
and servicing that customer, that clientele, that group of people who was maybe being underserved or not served at all. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's freaking powerful. So how about that? You because the reason I want to really kind of stress this is you may go into a niche that you currently don't touch right now.
Yeah, that's true.
And this is for everybody out there. Where do you see things going? Where do you see an underserved group of people? Where do you see the need? And I mean, heck, Harry, I mean, we could probably talk about a growing need for Spanish speaking, even, right? I mean, truly,
Yeah.
I mean, talk about a growing population within the United States. I mean, what do you see for your own niche in that future with the Spanish speakers?
Yeah, no, exactly. So, I mean, if you look, even the US Census, you look at different outfits like Pew Research, right? All these different outfits, right, are saying, again, there's an increase in the Spanish language community, right? Again, as high as 25% last 12 years. And just going through and understanding, well, where is it that I focus? Well, it just depends on where you live, right? A lot of this is going to change and depend on where I live. Here in the Tampa Bay area, we have ethnicities from Puerto Rico, from Cuba. Obviously, you go to Orlando, more Puerto Rico. You have Miami, right? Lots of people from Cuba. But it doesn't mean that just Florida, right? You can go above and beyond that. You can go to California, right? And
Yeah.
see
Oh, yeah.
specific ethnicities, say from Mexico. You go to New York, completely different outfit. I see lots of Colorado, a lot of from Chicago, all these different areas. You got to see, well, who can I go as an opportunity? Who can I talk to? Right? If I just learn a little bit Spanish, I learn the laws because obviously we got to be mindful
Yeah.
of fair housing and so on when it comes to Spanish ethnicities. But overall, thinking through that, if we see, okay, here's the different ethnicities, who do I go after? Now, in the last 2 to 3 years, we saw a 236% increase in people from Venezuela, right? Amazing. You're like, how is that even possible? 236%. So what am I going to do? I'm going to go after people from Venezuela, right? There's a high opportunity. If we see 67% from Honduras, 62% from Guatemala, 59% from the Dominican Republic, and
Yeah.
51% from Colombia, you begin to see, wow, there's an opportunity here. Wait a second. And it was always there. We just didn't see it, right? We didn't realize it was there. So that's what I'm hoping that this resonates with you guys, that now you can see there's an opportunity. It's always been there. It's just a question of I just got to pick up a little bit more of Spanish, right? Just like me, little by little, right? Listen to books in Spanish, right? That was another thing that really helped me resonate and become more fluent, right? Listening to it in Spanish. Yeah, we hear Think and Grow Rich. I listen to it. I read it in English. But now
Yeah.
what about in Spanish? You know, if I listen to it in Spanish, wow, it's a completely different world. Now
Yeah.
all of a sudden I'm speaking business in Spanish. Oh, wait a second.
Whole nother thing. Well,
Yeah,
so and you think about this, yeah, I think about my niches and what I tended to organize around the groups I was already a part of, right?
yeah,
And so, even from like now I'm bicycling. I have been for the last 20 years.
yeah,
And now, like everybody else, I don't think it's that special, but pickleball. Talk about
yeah.
a crazy group of people, right? Pickleball. How many people here play pickleball? Raise your hand on the chat there if you're playing pickleball, like all of us other crazy people. But it's funny because pickleball is loved by people who play pickleball and not like so much by tennis players because all the pickleball courts are going away. But here's an actual niche that can be cultivated. It's people you meet with regularly. It's a shared interest. And funny thing is, there's even developments around pickleball now. How do you become the expert on where people should go live if they're really tied to a sport, to this activity? I see lots of leisure and sporting activity, community-centered developments coming on for everything from water skiing and wakeboarding to skateboarding and BMX biking and side-by-side ATV, sort of environment. Those are where you go. We go to people who know you, trust you, like you, right? Or like you did, you found a need, an underserved community, and said, I could service that community.
Yeah.
And you worked at it. How many years ago did you start your language journey?
Well, I was licensed as an agent in 2003. So I would say really serious. Started teaching the classes in Spanish and getting into it, I would say probably a year later, a year or two later. So yeah, it's going on quite a bit of time. Not to
Well,
date
you should
myself
know,
fully.
Harry leads our Spanish-speaking licensing courses in
Yeah,
Florida for Bob Hogue School of Real Estate, and so which is going through a brand transition, and it will
yeah,
be all Kaplan within a year. But you should know, Harry's it. Harry's works on content and translations for us. And so, how about that? Took a niche and turned it into a real powerhouse skill set for you, Harry. Well, how do you feel you bring value to your clients working that niche, Harry? How do you feel you bring the value?
no, no, thank you, Toby. And then again, it's like Julitza and Sufina and several. You can tell that they also speak Spanish. Just kind of going through that dialects, the words, being mindful of that, being careful not to offend someone, because I
Yeah.
did that and it was painful. So I think it really resonates with people. You bring that value when you can connect with them, and what better way to connect in their primary language, you know? And I think that's huge, right? It's not the same English. Yes, they get it. They live here. They work here. But if now we can communicate on a deeper level, right, and get into the Spanish, and now their whole family can participate, and it just makes such a difference, right? That sincere connection, that relationship. Now I become family, even though I was never associated with them.
Yeah, yeah,
Now
yeah.
Harry the realtor is family, you know, and it's like, oh, invite me to the parties and Thanksgiving and Christmas, and it's like, oh, this is amazing, you know, and it takes it on such a different level than just I'm your agent, you know, we go through the transaction step by step, one and we're done. No, no, it's completely different. You know, now I'm a part of the family. It changes everything.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, and those are the kind of connections you get as you're helping people really make the largest purchase of their life generally,
Exactly.
right?
Yep.
It's a complicated purchase. Don't get me wrong. I mean, 80+% of all residential real estate transactions involve financing, which is another complicated piece to it. I love the fact that you went and got the mortgage origination experience, understanding you're serving your niche, right?
Yeah.
So you're just picking up new skills to serve that niche. And really what you did is you leveraged your niche. You
Exactly.
know,
Yep.
people, super entrepreneurs. There's a movie on Netflix now. I just see the ad for it. I haven't watched it yet, but I got it on there. And it says that, entrepreneurialism, extreme genius isn't about operating everywhere. It's about understanding your specialty and operating within one box
Yeah.
and knowing everything inside that box. And that's what niches allow you to do. right? Be it, I'm going to do lakeshore properties. I'm going to be the expert on lakeshore or Gulf community properties, or I'm going to be an expert on. Now, you got to be careful. Even when Harry and I were talking and setting this up today, you got to remember that as an agent, as a licensed agent, you have to be inclusive of everybody. You don't want to get in a situation where you're excluding people because of your niche. You never want to exclude. Because that would be that could be problematic, right, Harry? I mean, what does that get people in trouble with? That gets people in
Oh
trouble.
no, definitely. Can I add a little piece there? Because that's really important, Toby. And again, being mindful of fair housing, being mindful that this Spanish speaking community, in addition to any language, right, is going to tie into national origin. So factoring that in, being very mindful of that. And if you guys go, National Association of Realtors uses the term called LEP. So LEP, Limited English Proficiency. So it's not just Spanish. It also gets into any language, right? Any language in general. Maybe they just came from a different country. And now we're explaining this 12-page, binding contract, legally binding contract.
Super complicated.
Language, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's the point. You got to be careful is don't translate it. Be mindful of what it is. Don't use, some kind of service, a browser. Oh yeah, we just do that. And now you're going to get in trouble, and if you go on NAR's website, NAR's Window to the Law, you see all of this, right? You see NAR in Espanol, in Spanish, right? And it's just amazing. The amount of content that's out there now that helps us, right? And it keeps us out of trouble, like Toby says. Because when it's all said and done, that's what you got to be careful, right? We got the license, we worked so hard to get it, and now we got in trouble because we tried to do it in Spanish.
And we weren't really an expert at it, right? So
all
right. So let's do this because everybody's on here. I know we got people playing along in the chat. You're awesome. All right. Plus, hairstylists know so many people. I tell you what, if I was opening a brokerage, I would hunt every hairstylist in town.
Definitely.
All right. They have that book of business and I would be recruiting like crazy. Super, Karen, nicely done. Here's where I'm at. How exactly do you approach, a niche and really kind of adopting a niche, right? The process, the commitment, kind of specific activities. Let's give these guys just a roadmap before we go, because I know we got people who've been in the business for years say, I don't even know if I got a niche. I promise you, if you've been in the business 10 years or more, you have a niche. You probably don't even realize it as a niche, but that's it. But where can you go deeper? How can you take it to the next level, like Harry did and said, what about the add-on services that you can do too, right? But Harry, let's start at the very beginning. What the process, the commitment, time commitment, what are you looking at? Like specific activities, those kind of things.
Yeah, so a lot of times with the time commitment, I try to include it in my everyday business. So say I live here in the Tampa Bay area and I'm gonna go visit a new prospect, right? Maybe I have a listing presentation with a seller and it's in Tampa. So I'm gonna drive to Tampa, but not just go to that listing presentation. I'm gonna factor around that area and say, okay, where's my past clients, my past buyers, people I wanna work with? And I'm setting it up on that whole area. So I'm not just spending a couple hours in a listing presentation, I'm spending half the day, but I'm doing it in a very efficient way. So I'm not sitting there driving every single time and going to their house and try to communicate with them. In addition to, right, a new customer, always establish and keep the old customers, right? And focus on that because again, we don't have a lot of time, right? Just like Toby says, family and opportunities and angles and strategy and things that we have to do. Time-wise, it shouldn't be something brand new. As far as how do I approach it, again, I focus on the family, right? Focus on this one seller, this one buyer, and what is their legacy, right? They want to get this house, like Toby said, biggest investment they probably ever made in their life, 400,000, 500,000, extreme large amount of money. But what is important to them, right? When it comes down to it, what is that angle from the family? What is important? What is the vision for them? And how do you protect it? Right? Is it just the real estate? Is it now going into a will? Is it going to insurance? So I'm factoring in all those things because I want to help them. I really, really, truly want to be genuine and help them and go for that connection and see what's most important to them in the scheme of things.
Right on. Look at Lawrence got it, an answer there that I kind of like too. Harry, I wanted to thank you for being here today. Appreciate your insight. Appreciate the work you do for Kaplan. You do a wonderful job servicing that community, not only in your real estate, but also in your education. You took your niche all the way, and I love that. Everybody, the power of the niche. Don't lose sight of who you are and what you're trying to do and who you're working for, but find those groups that you can connect with. I'm going to say this, you know what? I see Jamie Cash put in the chat, continue the conversation on community at Kaplan. So we have a public forum that we're building the knowledge of, and it's in a beta format. Go out and take a look at that. If you want to click on that link, There's a lot of conversations there, and we're building content. We have over 70 instructors and subject matter experts who will be building content about the career in real estate on that forum. Please go to that forum and take the time and effort, search for what you like. Come back if you don't see what you want in a month, or ask the question on there for what you want an answer for. And we have our forces, our staff, our faculty is ready to answer your questions there too. So once again, I just wanted to say thank you for being here, Harry, and thank you for everybody for coming. Please take the time to go to the forum, and we'll see you again soon, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Toby.